ESPN's Adam Schefter said on the Pat McAfee show today that the Washington Commanders may consider trading down from number 2 and getting Kirk Cousins in NFL free agency. Some very juicy stuff there from Schefter that we'll talk about here in just a couple of seconds. And then also Tyron Smith, former Cowboys left tackle, says he's most likely not coming back to Dallas. So could the Commanders get him in free agency? I'll talk about that as well. And then also we'll discuss the franchise tag speculation, a couple players that the Commanders could tag before tomorrow's deadline. But before we get into today's Commanders news and rumors, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now for breaking news coverage surrounding the Washington Commanders all throughout the 2024 offseason. NFL free agency is right around the corner, guys. We're going to have you guys covered with every single signing that the Washington Commanders make during free agency this year. And then also for the NFL draft, we're going to have you guys covered with extensive scouting reports, mock drafts, all this great stuff, and all of that great stuff comes at you 100% free. So I'd really appreciate it right now if you click that subscribe button for me. And with that, let's get into Schefter's quote here about the quarterback situation and the potential trade down for the Washington Commanders. I think Washington is going to be open to anything, including trading back in the NFL draft. So there's going to be a team that doesn't get Kirk Cousins, and it certainly sounds like right now Kirk Cousins will have as his primary 2 options, Atlanta and Minnesota. Maybe Washington jumps in. Maybe there's another team. So he says that Kirk Cousins could be coming to the Washington Commanders. We actually talked about this on a show last week. If you want to check that out, I kind of break it down in detail. I'll put the link in the comments and description of today's show if you want to check that out after today's video. But the short version of that video is that I don't think Washington is going to pull that trigger for a 35-year-old quarterback. Massive cap hit if you end up getting him. And then also he's coming off that Achilles injury. So I really don't think a team that's rebuilding like the Washington Commanders, just bringing in a new head coach, all this cap space with a bunch of great draft picks, not to mention the number 2 overall pick, and in position to take one of these top quarterback prospects, is going to want to take a guy 35 years old off an injury and super expensive. That just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. However, the trade down idea that Schefter talks about here, I do believe is intriguing and is worth talking about, because if the Washington Commanders see Jaden Daniels and Drake May as very similar prospects, if their grades and their evaluations are neck and neck, sitting at 2 and 3, then if the New England Patriots are like, we really want Drake May or something like that, we'd be willing to give you an additional 3rd-round pick to move up. I absolutely think that could be on the table for the Washington Commanders. But here's the thing, guys. I don't think they're going to trade down further than number 3. I think the only way they trade down is if it's with the Patriots, and that way they can still land either Drake May or Jaden Daniels at number 3 overall and get themselves another nice pick. Now, if you trade down with New England, I mean, it's just one spot. It's not like they're going to give you like next year's 1st-round pick or anything like that. You could maybe get an additional 3rd. Now, it might be a 4th-round pick too. I know the Patriots are rebuilding as well with Gerard Mayo. They're in Foxborough, so maybe it's a 3rd, maybe it's a 4th, but it would just be another pick that you could have at your disposal to help things along here with the rebuild going on in Washington. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. If you are Adam Peters, the Washington Commanders GM, would you accept this trade? Type A if you would accept it, or type D if you're going to decline it. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So now let's shift to offensive tackle here, where former Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith is not expected to re-sign with the Dallas Cowboys this offseason, and there's definitely a lot of people speculating that he might want to join forces with Dan Quinn here in Washington, and right now Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the number 1 offensive tackle free agent about to hit the market in just a few days. And listen, guys, when it comes to Tyron Smith, I would love to have him as the next left tackle of the Washington Commanders. Now, I know he's a little bit older, all right, 33 years old. This is a rebuilding football team. I get all that, but he definitely has the connection to Dan Quinn. Okay, now, obviously, he's an offensive guy. Dan Quinn was working with the defensive side, but there's definitely a connection and a relationship that exists there. The players freaking love Danny Q. And then also we got the projected contract. If it's a 1-year contract for $10 million, I think that is an absolute steal for a guy like Tyron Smith, who, when healthy, is one of the best tackles in the National Football League. But, you know, it is worth mentioning that he has dealt with some injuries, so that's why the price would probably be a little bit lower for the Commanders. But what I really think that this is going to depend on, if you are Washington, number one, does Tyron Smith think the Commanders can compete quickly? I mean, let's face it, he's 33 years old. He probably wants to compete relatively quickly, and does he really think the Commanders are a team that's going to be able to ascend to that level quickly? And then the number two thing that you have to watch out for is how much money is Washington going to offer him? It's definitely possible that he might be chasing the money a little bit here, and he's going to want to get paid handsomely because, like I said, when healthy, he's one of the best left tackles in the game. So how much are the Commanders willing to give him? Is that something that's acceptable to him? All these are unanswered questions, but the connection is definitely there, which definitely gets me excited. And it's not like the Commanders can't afford him, right? They've got over $95 million in available cap space, depending on the post-June 1st designation, whether it is or not for Charles Leno Jr., who they just cut. But right now, they have the most projected cap space in the National Football League, and it's not even particularly close, guys. So if they want to go out and get a guy like Tyron Smith and throw some money at him, they can absolutely do that if they choose to do that. Now, for me, guys, I think that this move makes a lot of sense for the Washington Commanders. You want somebody that can be in there and be a real veteran presence along the left side. And if you're going to be trusting somebody, anybody available right now to protect your future franchise quarterback and whoever you draft at the top of round one this year, why not go out and get a nice veteran like Tyron Smith, who, like I said, when healthy, one of the best left tackles in football, and because of the injury history, you can get him at a discount. You take a look at the Pro Football Focus top free agent targets at the offensive tackle position right now. Trent Brown is another name that I would totally be on board for. He's a little bit younger than Tyron Smith, has less of an injury history, and right now PFF projects a lower contract number than for Tyron Smith. And Michael Onwenu, Mekhi Becton, Jermaine Illuminor, Jonah Williams, all these different guys hitting the market. I wouldn't necessarily put those guys on the same level as Tyron Smith or Trent Brown, but they're definitely options that Commanders fans need to be looking out for. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Would you sign Tyron Smith this offseason? Give me a yes or give me a no for me. I want to know how you're feeling about Tyron Smith and whether you think the Commanders should bring him in this offseason. Now, tomorrow is the franchise tag deadline in the National Football League, and the Commanders still haven't announced what they are going to do with their potential for a franchise tag this year. Now, there's two players that are mostly getting most of the hype for the franchise tag right now, and that's strong safety Kamren Curl and then outside cornerback Kendall Fuller. Now, there's definitely a debate going on. Which guy should they franchise tag? All these different things. Should they even franchise tag a player this year? But my preferred choice here, guys, is the franchise tag Kamren Curl. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. I think he's a really good fit in Dan Quinn's defensive system as a true box safety, strong safety. And I really think that his strengths will get accentuated in this type of system, whereas Kendall Fuller might not be the best fit because he's more of a laissez-faire, off-coverage type corner when Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. want to be aggressive and get in the faces of wide receivers. All right, so now let's get into what it comes down to when it comes to the franchise tag for me, okay? For me, I think that the franchise tag for the safety is cheaper. I mean, you save about $2 million, so, you know, there's that added benefit. And then I think Cam Curl, like I said, is the better fit for this defense than Fuller is. So not only do you save a little bit of money by franchise tagging Cam instead of Kendall, but also the fit is better, and I think that there's some other nice options in free agency and the draft to address the cornerback position if you are the Commanders. Now, pick one guy to franchise tag for me down there in the comment section. Type KC for Kamren Curl or type KF for Kendall Fuller. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. And that will be it for today's show, guys. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now for extensive Commanders coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason. We're going to have breaking news videos for you guys all throughout free agency. We're going to have a bunch of great stuff getting you guys ready for the NFL draft. 5 picks in the top 100. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now and join our family.